Trek to Yomi is an incredibly stylish 2D action game reminiscent of Japanese movies from the 1950s and 60s. Look, if you've had a vested interest in this game, you are buying it probably from the setting, the style, and the presentation of the game. Leading to Trek to Yomi's release, it seems like that was the main talking point about the game, and we'll talk about all of the other aspects because that's important, but let me just say, right off the top, if that's the reason you were buying this game, because of the excellent presentation, because of the visual style, they absolutely nailed that element of the game. The trailers look solid, and I felt the whole style that people wanted out of this game was extended to the entirety of the game. Mind you, it's a little on the shorter side, but this game is absolutely top-notch from a presentation standpoint. The black and white visuals look great, and I never found it to be jarring at all. The animations, the environments, those all look good, and I'll even say towards the latter portion of the game, it built and looked better and better, especially when you got to the climactic finale section. And even in some of the middle portions, man, the game just looked fantastic. Of course, the team at Flying Wild Hog went for an air of authenticity and wanted to pay respect to the era, and they did that outside of the visual presentation as well. The soundtrack is great and does a fantastic job setting the tone for the game, and the Japanese voice acting is incredibly engrossing. Now, there is an accessibility option for English voice acting, but come on, let's be real. If you're buying this game, you're playing it with the Japanese voiceovers. I appreciate the inclusion of that because maybe a few people will want to try that out, and hey, more options for accessibility are never a bad thing, but the Japanese voiceovers are tremendous, and I think most will stick to that. But again, I appreciate them going the extra mile and putting in English voiceovers. At least it's there as an option. Over the course of the 5 to 6 hour campaign, the narrative was interesting and really built intrigue towards the halfway portion of the game. At the beginning, it was a pretty typical samurai revenge setup, but it got pretty compelling towards the halfway portion, and as you got into some of the deeper aspects of the game. There are some decisions to be made that do add a little bit of replay value to the game for sure. You'll have a couple of different scenes and whatnot. If you want to just play it once, you'll probably have a pretty satisfying experience, but there's definitely a reason to give it a second playthrough on top of your first playthrough. So if you go through it twice, you'll probably get your money's worth in terms of pure hours per dollar of gameplay. Unfortunately, the one area of the game that doesn't stack up as much as the excellent presentation is the gameplay. It's definitely not outright bad, far from it, just a bit mundane, and it felt like a lot of the times I was just going through the motions. Okay, I can land my parry, attack. You'll get different combos along your playthrough, and you may utilize some of them, especially at the portions where it seems like the game is throwing a lot of enemies at you. And on top of that, you do have a few ranged weapons with set ammo. Ammo, again, is fairly plentiful throughout the game, so you can just pick it up without a big issue. On top of that, as far as things you can pick up, there are collectibles in each chapter of the game. 7 chapters in total encompass the game, and those add a little bit of insight to the thematics and the theme of the game that they were going for, so I did enjoy that. And there are a couple of different routes that you can go that add a little bit of layers to what you can do and how you can tackle different situations. I'm not going to say it's completely versatile and there's so many different angles that you can tackle situations, but there is a little bit of that as well. And as far as difficulty, there are 4 different options. An easy mode focused on you experiencing the story. Normal is self-explanatory. It'll give you a bit of challenge and still focusing on the story. And a hard mode. After you complete the game, you also get a 4th difficulty option that's 1 hit, 1 kill, so if you want to dive into that, you'll find quite a bit of challenge there. Playing on normal, it was a pretty satisfying experience. Even the times that you do die, you don't get punished too hard because the game is filled with these shrines that act as checkpoints. They heal you and your stamina, and you'll spawn right back when you die, and it's not like there's a lot of ground you gotta cover again, so it never got really frustrating to me. I appreciated that since it kept the game flowing, and with a game like this, it kept the pacing of the game really solid, and that was much to the benefit of the game. There are also some environmental puzzles as well. Very straightforward. Nothing you're gonna get stumped at all. Kind of breaks up the game a little bit. Nothing to write home about again, but they are there. And again, pretty straightforward as far as that's concerned. There are a few boss fights in the game as well. Each chapter will conclude with a boss fight. You have some underbosses as well, mini-boss style fights. And I thought the boss fights initially started kind of basic, but as you got towards the halfway point of the game and towards the latter portion of the game, especially the conclusion, the boss fights definitely did get more and more interesting, and the different playstyles that you have to adopt to beat the bosses, I thought that was pretty well done again towards the halfway point of the game. Overall, I imagine the majority were excited for this game because of the incredibly slick presentation, and that element exceeded my expectations. In all honesty, I think the game looks fantastic, and some of the scenery is great. The gameplay certainly doesn't match that level, being a bit mundane at times. It's a shorter game, but really, this is a game that if they padded it out and tried to go for an 8 to 10 hour campaign, I think it just would have been a gigantic detriment to the pacing of the game, and there is the replay value that you're gonna get, and it's priced accordingly, so I don't think that's a major issue. $18 to $20 is a good price for the game, and if you have Game Pass, absolutely give yourself a weekend or even a night to go through Trek to Yomi. It's a good time. My final score for the game is an 8 out of 10, so that is going to do it for me. Thanks to the fine folk over at Devolver Digital for giving me a copy of the game. Quite enjoyed my time, and if you're excited for this game, I really think those of you that had interest in this game going into the release, you're gonna end up enjoying it. Just expect something a little bit on the shorter side, and the gameplay isn't gonna be absolutely blow away, but again, there are a healthy number of combos that you're gonna unlock, and if you play at a harder difficulty, I think you're gonna be a bit more engaged as far as challenge is concerned. But that is gonna do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.